A pair of divers named Alex and Chuck are exploring Seamount looking for something they're having trouble finding.
Oh, it's no use, Chuck. We're not going to find it.
We can't give up. Just a little farther, Alex. Have faith. You'll find it.
A magnetometer. I dropped it.
It's down on that ledge. Is it still working?
I'll check it. It's on. Hey, Chuck, we're getting a reading. Come on, this way.
What they're after is a very special shipwreck, and they may have just found it. The thing about shipwrecks is there's a lot of them. You might go looking for one in a certain area and find 6 instead. Then the fun part begins, sorting out which is which, and if any of them are the one you want. Moving some seaweed confirms that this is indeed the Viking, the wreck Alex has been chasing for 7 years.
She has 3 main cargo holds. Here, here, and here. And a small one aft by the stern. That's where I'm betting the artifacts are, if they are aboard the Viking.
Do you care to make an estimate of the value of that Mayan gold and jade?
To an archaeology museum, they're priceless. To a private collector,
Those artifacts could be worth millions. Right, Alex?
my enthusiastic brother's right.
Alex doesn't care about the millions. He is the archaeologist he mentioned. We're talking about a whole bunch of Mayan objects well over 1,000 years old. Why would a submarine sink that ship? Nevertheless, Alex and Chuck will have all the help and gear they need to confirm the find, courtesy of Sealab. Hal and Ed will survey the wreck and make sure it's safe to go inside. There's no guarantee of that.
What a story this old wreck could tell if she could talk.
She was sunk at the start of the First World War. Her skipper traded guns for Mayan gold and jade.
That was over 100 years ago.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's find the treasure.
That's why Alex has the beard. It marks him as the mature one, while smooth-faced Chuck is the impulsive young buck who's ready to charge right in. You don't do that with an unfamiliar shipwreck.
Wait a minute. Hold it.
Look out, Chuck.
Barracuda!
Out of the way, Chuck. I'll stop him.
Nice going, Alex.
I try to warn you, Chuck. Old wrecks make perfect homes for barracuda.
But that's not why you don't go charging into an unfamiliar wreck. Barracuda aren't aggressive toward humans. Neither are sharks. Neither are moray eels, which we'll also see briefly. Unlike humans, ocean predators don't get off on being mean or cruel. They need a good reason to attack, and you just being there isn't a good enough reason. When the average barracuda sees how big you are, he'll decide to find something else to look at. On our first dive in Belize last week, the first thing that greeted us was a 5-foot reef shark just meandering around. He didn't care about us because A, we didn't look like food, and B, we weren't bothering him. It's the same old principle: if you don't bother them, they won't bother you. Chuck disturbed that barracuda, but it wouldn't attack like that. It'd say, "Oh, come on," and go off somewhere else until you left. Alex is as sure as he can be that this is the ship he's been looking for. It's perched a little delicately on a ledge, so they'll have to be super careful working on it, because if it slides off, it drops down to about 15,000 feet. Sealab has a portable base camp that they can set up right next to it, as well as most everything they'll need to begin their careful penetration of the wreck.
Alex, ready to go inside?
Why can't we all go? We could search faster.
If he really doesn't know, he hasn't been listening to his brother closely enough for all these years.
Only 2 at a time. If something happens, the rest of you might be able to get us out. Strap one of those follow lines on, Alex.
If you don't come out, all we do is follow the line in and find you.
You don't enter an unfamiliar shipwreck without careful planning, and those follow lines are a big part of it. I didn't look up how many divers have blundered into a wreck, gotten lost, and run out of air, but I have a feeling it's a number higher than I know how to count. That Happens when you can only count to one, but that's another matter. The point is, ships have passages every which way in every direction, possibly including some directions that don't actually exist, and without some kind of trail to follow, you can get turned around in seconds. Throw in the fact that there's 100 years worth of silt on every surface, and your movements are going to kick it all up and completely obscure your vision, and it all adds up to these things are death traps if you don't know what you're doing. That follow line is your trail of breadcrumbs to get out of there in an emergency.
Watch out, there's a moray eel. Go slow, he won't bother us. But watch him, just in case.
I've literally been face to face with a moray. We were in Honduras at our favorite resort, and on one of our dives, this green moray was just bobbing there, looking at us and probably thinking we were the silliest looking fish he ever saw. But there was a little fish hanging around right in front of him that I wanted to get a good picture of, so that meant moving in close. I was holding my camera like this and shooting some video, and I got about this close to the moray. He didn't care. I wasn't showing any fingers or anything else that might have looked good to eat, and I wasn't getting too close, so he sat there and posed for me with his mouth open and the whole bit. When we got back on the boat, several other divers told me I was crazy to get that close to it. But if I may toot my own horn for just a few seconds, unlike them, I do my homework. The passageway to the hold where the artifacts are is blocked solid with debris and twisted metal. This will require a different approach. They have cutting torches to clear some of the wreckage away.
Your turn, Chuck. We're gonna do some cutting.
How bad is it in there?
Plenty bad. We'll be lucky if she doesn't come down around us. But if we cut slowly, piece by piece, she should stay together.
Look, if it's that dangerous, I'm willing to call the whole thing off.
We can't. This means too much to you.
If it gets sticky in there, we'll pull out. I'm not taking any risks with Chuck's life, or mine.
Have we figured out yet that Chuck idolizes his brother? He knows how important this is to Alex, but Alex understands that lives are more important than stuff. If this find gets away, he'll come up with another one. There's always something else that needs doing in archaeology. I'm pretty sure Alex is good enough at this that he won't have any trouble finding a new rabbit to chase.
Look out!
Remember what I said about the silt? Yeah, there you go. They have to follow the lines and feel their way out. I've talked with divers whose goal is the Andrea Doria. It sits in about 250 feet of water, so special equipment and training is essential if you have half the sense that God gave a mud puddle. The thing about that one and a few others is, enough experienced divers have been there that their ship has all kinds of permanent follow lines in place to keep you from getting lost. So even if the silt kicks up like this, you can find your way. I wonder if Chuck is suddenly realizing that taking those lines with him was a pretty good idea. But now the wreck is shifting and there's a real danger of it falling over the edge.
It's no use. I can't ask you to go back in there.
We started this job with you, and we'll do our best to finish it.
We haven't tried pneumatic jacks.
Right. We could shore up the hull with pneumatic jacks to stop it from slipping. What do you think?
I think we ought to blast our way in. One good charge of explosives would do it.
And the whole ship would slide off the ledge.
Alex, is there a particular reason you never taught your brother about Newton's laws, especially the one about equal and opposite reaction? They'll go with the pneumatic jacks. Hal and Ed take them inside and set them up in key positions around the blockage. When they're set, Gale starts the air flowing.
Hal, it's working.
So far. With luck, we might reach that aft hold in 3 or 4 days. We'll need more jacks for this job. Come on, Ed.
3 or 4 days? Too long. She could break up by then.
What happens, Hal, when we reach the aft hold?
We start cutting again.
But it's going too slow.
If you want to speed things up, you and Gale head back to Sealab. Get us another load of jacks.
Alex already told Chuck that his little explosion could destroy the artifacts if they put it in the wrong place. There's a good chance of that happening because they don't know where the wrong place is. At Sealab, Gale goes to report to Captain Murphy while Chuck gathers the jacks.
Explosives. That's it. What I want should be in here. I'm gonna get those artifacts out for you, Alex.
You knew he was going to do something stupid. He gathers some of the gelignite, a detonator, and a timer, and buries them in the box with the jacks and stuff.
This really means a lot to your brother Alex, doesn't it?
This is his whole life. He's been hunting the Viking artifacts for years. Then the university let him go, but now he'll get his job back.
And you really believed in him and his quest.
He's fantastic. Alex raised me after our folks died. Put me through school. Someday I'll pay him back. Somehow.
People like Alex don't do things like that because they expect to be paid back. They do it because they love you and it's the right thing to do. Folks, pity the person who sees everything in life as a transaction of some kind. I can't think of a more unhappy way to live because you always expect the worst from people, and at a certain point it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's never enough to fill the void. You can't wheel and deal enough to feel satisfied or happy because you can never be content with the life you have. To paraphrase St. Paul, the person who lives like that is of all people most miserable. I'll never be rich. I'm too adept at giving stuff away to my own detriment. To put it bluntly, I live in a trailer. And you know what? I love my life. I'm happier now than I have ever been before. If Alex never manages to get these artifacts, he's okay with that. His brother's safety is all that really matters. Chuck appears to be a lot younger than Alex, so he may not be mature enough to understand how Alex thinks. Or he's an impulsive dingbat.
Hal, look, there's the door. It's working.
We'll soon know. Get back. Let's get out of here. Close those valves. We've had a cave-in.
Alex is ready to abandon the idea. It's too dangerous. This thing is just too unstable to work in. They head back into the base camp to discuss options. Chuck will stay and monitor the wreck's status. We know leaving him there by himself is a bad idea. They don't.
Good. Now we'll try it my way, with explosives. There. This should do the job. 10 minutes should be enough time. Now I'd better clear out of here.
If you didn't see that coming, turn in your Junior Explorer's decoder ring. Suddenly, 10 minutes doesn't look all that long. In the base camp, Hal suggests flotation bags to get the artifacts. Cut a hole in the deck or hull above the items, then float them out. Today, we're more likely to call them lift bags, but the idea is the same. The bag is actually a balloon. Attach it to the thing you want to lift, then pump a little air into the balloon. It doesn't take much because not only does the air want to rise, it wants to expand. As the bag goes up and the water pressure lessens, the air expands and the balloon gets bigger and even more buoyant, so it's able to lift even more weight. Professional divers use them a lot for search and recovery. With enough of them, you can raise a whole car. If your car needs it, I foresee the repair bill of the century, but that's another subject. Let's cut that hole.
Where's Chuck?
I'll bet he went back inside the wreck.
Ed, come with me. Alex, stay with Gale.
As I said, after we go get Meathead, let's cut that hole.
There he is. He's pinned under the wreckage. Go back and get some jacks. I'll see if I can help him.
Get out of here fast.
What's going on?
I planted explosives in the aft hold just to hurry things. They're gonna blow up any minute. Hal, get going, please. Just leave me.
I'm not sure what Chuck expected, but his bomb accomplished three things. First, it got him loose. Second, it cleared the way to the door they've been trying to reach. They can get into the hold where the artifacts are supposed to be. And third, they'll have to go that way because the explosion blocked their way out of here. They'd better hope that hold has a back door. Captain Murphy is scrambling all of Sealab's rescue teams. Paul will lead them himself. They have better torches and stuff, so they'll have a quicker time cutting through the hull. The next question is, cut through it where? Where are they?
There's no way out of this hold.
Then we're trapped. And it's my fault.
Listen, they're searching for us. Come on, start tapping.
Yeah, cut right there.
They're alive.
Yeah, but how long can they last?
We've been on these tanks for about 3 hours. Let me take a look at your pressure gauge. 1/3 full. Well, that means we've got about 2 hours left, if we take it easy.
I want a tank that lasts 5 hours. Paul and crew have hooked up an air hose through a hole they drilled. The air is forming a pocket in the hold so they can take off their masks and save their air. In the air pocket, Chuck is trying to open one of the crates.
She's going.
Everyone, move back!
The opening is blocked. What do we do now?
Cut another one? No, for some reason they can't do that. They have to dig that one out of the silt. With what?
But we need high-pressure water. There won't be time to bring pumps.
What about deep diver?
We use her jet nozzles.
Right. Now let's get going.
The only thing I can figure is we don't want to pay those rescue guys overtime. Just cut another hole. And do it quickly because Chuck is so excited he can't hold still.
Look, Hal. The treasure. It's here. Alex was right.
Listen, they're breaking through down below. Get your mask on.
Hal? Chuck? Are you all right?
It's all here, Alex, just like you said. Let's get them out.
No time. She's breaking up.
But we've got to. The artifacts.
Lives come first. Get yourself out of there. And that's an order.
I'm reminded of, I'm pretty sure it was an episode of Emergency, the paramedics show. This guy is in the ER having a heart attack, but he's wheeling and dealing on the phone trading commodities or something like that. The doctor is trying to get his attention to tell him how much trouble he's in, but this guy isn't paying attention. Finally, he says, "If I don't make this deal, I'll go broke. The worst thing I can do is go broke." The doctor says, "The worst thing you can do is die." The guy says, "You have your opinion, I have mine." I can see Chuck being that guy with these artifacts.
Back, everyone. She's going.
Look, the stern's still there.
And the artifacts. The aft section is stuck on the ledge.
That means it's reasonably stable now. Alex has that one mask to prove that he's found the Viking with its historical treasure. Nobody's saying it out loud, but with that evidence, he'll be able to get the funding he needs to do this properly.
We'll be back with the ship and men and the right equipment to do the job.
But slowly and carefully, right?
Now you're getting the idea.
You know something? I think this old iron hulk will turn into a gold mine the next time you two prospectors swim by.
Next time, Dr. Williams, we're counting on it.
Yeah, he has to go see some men about some money. Archaeology is another of those sciences that is terribly underfunded. Too many of the folks doing the field work have to beg and grovel for what they do get unless they're whiz-bangs at navigating the maze that is getting grants. I've watched someone in that maze, and all I could think was, better you than me. What amazes me most is we foresaw underwater archaeology. As a science, it may not be more than about 30 years old, but these writers saw it coming well before it appeared. They even foresaw using magnetic detectors to locate things, which is a common method today. So, for the present moment at least, color me impressed. Marks him as, come on, folks in the field doing the, I can't pronounce.